Bhasha Mukherjee, who was crowned Miss England in 2019, has now taken up the role of a junior doctor in the NHS. She has gone back to the services amid the coronavirus pandemic. She is now joining us live on the broadcast. Hi, Bhasha. Thanks very much for speaking with us. I want to begin by asking you to tell us more about what made you take that decision of returning to the medical services.
There were thousands of doctors returning to work who were retired doctors, and one of my colleagues reached out to me, not in a way to guilt trip me or anything, but just to give me a picture of what was really going on in terms of how long the shifts were that they were putting in and how much pressure they were under. And my natural response was, well, I want to be part of that and join in. The more hands, the better, really, to share the load. That's what I was thinking.
Bhasha, how do you describe the current situation in the UK? The numbers have been on the rise. There has also been talk of a shortage of supplies over the last few days.
It is. It does give me vibes of what I imagine must have been the case, during World War II or One. It's the British here. They have got an attitude of keep calm and carry on, and I can see that that's exactly how they're dealing with the current situation.
Right. Tell us more about the challenges that the doctors are facing at this point.
I think the biggest challenges are that we are having to work really long hours under strained conditions in terms of resources, manpower, lack of experience. We haven't ever had to face something like this before, and especially the juniors. We've been thrown in at the deep end. We've not been given enough time to get the training done or things like that. We're having to juggle everything, and what that means is it makes us feel very anxious that we'll get something wrong, we'll make mistakes, we will potentially cause someone harm in this way by being under so much pressure and being so exhausted.
Right. What, according to you, needs to be done to help the doctors? You said that they have been thrown at the deep end in a way.
Much the same as what we've been sort of asking everybody to do, which is stay home, take this seriously. People are still not taking it seriously because there's not been an official law that's been passed in this country, at least, where you could get fined or put behind bars for doing the activities that people are still engaging in, and then not complying with police and security staff. I think that's all you or anybody at home can do at this point in time, is to keep at home. If you don't have an essential reason, if it's not a case of life and death, if it's not a case of, I need to, I'm going to die in the next 2 days if I don't leave the house, there are real people who genuinely have to go out, leave every day to work at the front line, at shops and essential services. They're not given this choice. If life has granted you this choice, this is a holiday. This is basically a paid holiday. Take advantage of it. Please stay at home.
Right, and these are extraordinary circumstances, and those who are fighting on the front lines are under tremendous pressure. What keeps you going in these circumstances?
What keeps me going? I think doctors in a way feel the same feeling that mothers feel towards their children, that sense of responsibility, that there are people reliant on us, there are lives that are reliant on us, and I think that activates a part of all of us. We all have it in us that when we have to care for someone, we do put our own needs aside and think about that other being.
Absolutely. Bhasha, several countries in the Western world have failed to tackle the COVID-19 crisis despite being medically advanced. Why do you think things have panned out the way they have in those parts of the world?
I think it's to do with the fact that there are stricter human rights laws here where we can't use forces of violence to keep people home. We cannot threaten them with anything. We can only advise. And I do know that some of the Eastern countries, they have been resorting to violence and more stricter rules and means. And unfortunately, the human rights laws in Western countries does not allow for that. And we cannot enforce anything at this point on people. So I think that's got a role to play.
And the decision you took to return to the services, of course, comes laden with uncertainties. This is a very extraordinary circumstance that we are looking at. What's running through your mind right now?
There was no doubt about it that I wanted to be back home, to be with my family and be at home in my known environment. I don't regret doing that. In terms of uncertainty of how things are in this country versus where I was in India, where I was safer in comparison, it's all relative. The safety is all relative at the moment. The numbers are growing in every country pretty much. So it was only going to be a matter of time before things would have escalated wherever I would have been. In terms of, do I regret the decision to go back to work at a time like this? I don't regret going back to work, but I sort of do feel anxious. It does feel like going onto the battleground. I'm sure you've heard of stories of soldiers from the wars. They were excited to join to serve their country. They have that feeling of patriotism and, national pride, and all these things play a part. But then, of course, you feel the butterflies about actually going there and starting the job itself. So, of course, I feel that, but no regrets.
All right. Leaving it there for the moment, Bhasha Mukherjee, appreciate very much joining us on the broadcast with those perspectives. With that, it's a wrap on this broadcast. We're taking a very short break. Lots more coming up on the other side. Stay tuned.